Hey guys, hello and welcome to my channel. This is Nandini and today I'm here with another video about the labor and industrial law. So what exactly is labor law? What exactly are the basic principles? I'll discuss all those things here with you. So I will be discussing this in various videos in various parts, starting with industrial jurisprudence and further moving on discussing labor policy in India, industrial revolution in India, evils of industrialization, labor problems, growth of labor legislation, and so on. So today let us start with industrial jurisprudence. What basically is industrial jurisprudence? So before understanding that, let us understand the meaning of the term jurisprudence. So this term has been derived from a Latin term, that is jurisprudentia, that is the study or the knowledge or the science of law and its application. So what is law? What is the study of it? What is the science of it? And the application of it is jurisprudence. So it imposes certain questions on us, like what is law? Who prepared the law? What is the purpose of law? What are its impacts? Who will be affected by it? And certain questions like these. So it does not mean that the study of statutes or the branches of law, but it actually means it actually studies the basic principles behind the development of these statutes and the branches of law, right? So this is what jurisprudence is. So now let us understand what industrial jurisprudence is. So basically, industrial jurisprudence, it refers to the development of law and the legislation related to industries, and it includes its further studies as to what laws will be there, who will be affected by these laws, what population will be affected by the same, what is the purpose and impact of these laws, like what class, the working class, the ruling class, what class will be affected by the same. All these things are discussed under industrial jurisprudence. So basically it is a distinct branch of civil law. That is something important to remember, right? So now let us see the history and the development of the same, right? So labor legislation in England, it dates back to feudal times. It started back then during the feudal times. In the year 1349, उस टाइम पे क्या होता है, there comes this ordinance, that is the Ordinance of Labours, and in 1351, after 2 years, Statute of Labourers come up. And what these two ordinances and statutes did, they basically banned the worker organizations and they prevented wage hikes and they prevented so many things, and they fixed the wages at a very minimal level actually. So that was something which is not working for the labor class. See, in England there was this plague which was a very big plague, and these ordinances and statutes, they fixed the wages at pre-plague level, so people were not able to sustain with that money in their hands. So after these statutes and all these things came, after a few years there was peasants revolt. This revolt happened in the year 1381, right? 1381 this happened, and this revolt was further suppressed by the government there. And then the development of modern industrial jurisprudence happened in England, in the European continent. There it all happened. So there was industrial revolution in the 18th century in Britain, and this was basically the process of change. The change from agrarian or handicraft economy to an economy which was dominated by industry and machine manufacturing. So this industrial revolution, it basically spread to various parts of the world eventually, and revolution was basically a sudden and complete change, a complete flip over from what was going on, from the things which were prevalent back then, right? With time it spread to European continents, to USA, to France, and to other countries all across the globe. So with this, there was the process of change, a change as in the raw materials to machine made products and such kind of chain. and this also spread. And with this knowledge, the scientific knowledge of this change, the process of changing, the scientific knowledge, that also spread with the revolution happening. So, in the process, the society was divided into two classes, the haves and have nots. Haves were the rich people, and have nots were the poor. The poor with no money, this was the working class, the middle class, the poor class, the class which suffered the most. And they were the people who suffered the actual problems of industrialization. And this were not a few people, this was a greater chunk of population, of course. And the haves, the rich class, they were the people who had the scientific knowledge, they knew how to convert, and they ultimately made the money. So this was the elite class, a few people, money, a few hands, and the rest of the chunk were the have-nots class, and they suffered a lot, of course. So certain people in the process, they started analyzing these conditions, they started knowing what was going on, they started understanding the social gap, and they understood what kind of society was becoming it was, right? And they wanted to change the conditions for have-nots, and because they understood the difficult survival of have-nots, right? So then a revolutionary mindset came up. The revolutionary mindset emerged. And some people, as to name a few, they were Frederick Winslow Taylor. He was an American, and he is called the father of scientific management. And there was Henry Fayol. He was a French man. So guys, understand it like a story that the revolution happened, and during the revolution, a revolutionary minds come up, and they analyze everything, and then they change the conditions there, right? So these people, they were initially poor people, they were also daily wage workers, and they used to live in bad conditions, and they also struggled through their life, and they also faced hardships, and they had difficulty with the food, shelter, clothing, and all. But they worked as labor class, and eventually with their hard work they became big businessmen, and they became big industrialists. And it was a complete change, a complete flip over they bought for themselves. From have-nots they converted to haves, and now, because they understood the struggle, they knew all about industries, like the respective stages on how an industry works, and what kind of people are involved in an industry, and the working conditions, the mindset of employers, the mindset of employees. They understood everything which was happening in the industry actually. So they felt the need to spread this knowledge to the world, and that's why they wrote books about the same. And many books got published, and a few were named Industrial Revolution. And therefore this concept spread across the globe, and people got to know about it, and eventually the industrial jurisprudence developed. And this especially spread to democratic nations, because at that time these nations were getting independent and all, and there it was the government of the people, by the people, for the people. And so democratic nations especially understood it, and this knowledge of industrial jurisprudence, it eventually spread, and it reached the greater population all around the world.